Welcome into this week's Coyote Net Report. I'm here with Coach Leanne Williamson. And Coach, second straight week in the Summit sweep, splitting a pair of matches. A tough home loss on Friday against Omaha. You were in each set to the bitter end and just didn't pull out the key points. And then to go on the road in some adverse weather conditions and get a sweep on the road is obviously a great way to end the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think those split weekends can be nice and they can be tough. I mean, obviously, when you look at having a couple of split weekends, you're home for at least a portion of every weekend, which is nice. You get to play in front of your own fans. You don't have to be gone for an entire weekend. But at the same time, once you play at home, it can be tough to get back on the bus the next day and take off. So, I think Omaha on Friday, I think some of the takeaways that we had was, one of them being that we are good enough to play with those teams at the top of the conference. I think the second set showed that, really actually scoring at a very high rate, kind of controlling it from the start to the finish. But I think the other portion of it is we also control our destiny on the backside. We got really tentative at the end of a couple of the sets when we had leads. Set one, I believe we were up 18-15, and they went on a 10-3 run to finish the match. And I think some of that, or the game, and some of that came from us backing off a bit. And then the third, I think it was the third again, up 18-16, and then 23-20. So we had chances again. And same type of thing, you go back and watch film, also you see us tipping a little bit more often. We got blocked once, and I think with that, I think our team lost their fearlessness in a way to take some big swings. So that was one of the biggest things that we took away from that, and we talked about to make sure that we could move forward and take care of business when we had the opportunities to again. And on the other side, Omaha's a very good team. They're young. I think they're playing together really well right now, and I think I know that we're looking forward to playing them again. I know it'll be a good match, and hopefully we can make some of the changes that we need to in order to pull it out. Going on the road to North Dakota, it was actually kind of a tough trip. We had 2 flat tires with our bus, so we got up there a lot later than we thought we were going to, just with the change of the tires, actually getting us a new bus the second time through. I think our girls could definitely let that affect them going into Sunday. We didn't get to practice on the road then on Saturday, but our players showed up right away on Sunday morning. We had our pregame meal. They were very focused. We practiced a little bit longer before the match then to make sure that we were comfortable in the gym. And I think from the start, they just looked a lot more confident. I think first set we served and passed really well, got them out of their offense, were able to take away things that they really wanted to do, which was good to see. And then sets 2 and 3, even though we won, I think there's still things that we can get better at. We made a few more hitting errors down the stretch, and really most of their runs came from our errors. So not that you're not going to make errors. You're always going to make errors at some point in time during games. It's just controlling those situations and making sure that they don't compound. So, happy that we were able to bounce back after the Omaha loss with the sweep at North Dakota. And North Dakota is a tough place to play. Believe they had over 1,000 people there again, and they're always going to have a great environment. So our players stayed very steady in that situation. I don't think they let that energy actually affect them negatively. We just created our own, and it was good to see our team bounce back like that.
Just a quick review of the Omaha match, 25-21. Like I say, win game 2, 25-10, and then game 3, 26-24, game 4, 25-23. Couple of 2-point losses that could have gone either way in those last 2 sets. Haley Dotseth had 14 kills, Taylor Wilson 13 kills, and you look at the team stats. You had a better hitting percentage than Omaha did, and yet it's like you look at the stats, you should have won. Mm-hmm.
Timely errors. And that's really what it comes down to in close sets. Some of those unstatable plays that you don't necessarily see on the stat sheet, but that obviously show up when we're watching film and whatnot. Those things are important, and especially in those tight games, that cost us. And I think even just the being tentative at the end of a couple games. we have some people that with less experience in some positions right now, and unfortunately we did get stuck in a rotation that really affected us negatively there, and because we lost our aggressiveness, they were able to score a little bit more efficiently on the backside of that. So you don't necessarily see it show up in errors on our side, but we made it a little bit too easy on them at the end of games to score points on their end, and yet we still lost by 2 points in 2 of those sets, and obviously game 1 having that lead and giving it away, and that's definitely something that our team has hopefully learned from, and I think we're able to recover from going into Sunday.
And then the quick bounce back on Sunday, Haley Dotson, another 14 kill day for Haley, and for Elizabeth Lotion to get in double figures at 11, and yet here you got 3 others with over 5, and Madison Jurgensen with 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were a little bit more balanced again on Sunday. And obviously when you pass well, that happens. When you're in system, people get involved. Madison has the ability to move people around and make sure that the ball is getting to different spots. And North Dakota does some stunt blocking, so they release out to certain hitters. And I think Madison was able to take advantage of that and get our players some one-on-one situations offensively. And, obviously you work a lot with your hitters on when you're one-on-one scoring points in those moments. I think we did that pretty well.
And then you look at the defensive side of the match. Ann Rasmussen, a South Dakota school record, 32 digs for a 3-set match, and yet you look at Haley Dotson with 17 digs, Madison Jurgensen with 14 digs. So defensively, I mean, obviously Ann stands out because she is our libero. I mean, but for what she's done to get the school record, and just talk a little about Ann a little bit and the accomplishment for her, especially now she's moved into the top 10 of the career dig list.
Annie is going to continue to be a name that you hear. I think she is obviously standing out to a lot of people, and yet, she's still just beginning. She's still got a year left after this, so I think she's somebody that people are going to get very used to seeing both her name and then obviously just recognizing her on the floor. But, she continues to make improvements, and I think that's the biggest thing about her right now is even though she's gotten some of these, records, being able to say that she got 1,000 digs, she's still not satisfied. She works extremely hard. She takes feedback really well, and I think she's really buying into learning about our opponents so that she can be in the best position every night, knowing what could possibly come at her, knowing what tendencies are, and that's something that I think allows her to stand out from other people right now. I think that if you would have asked me, if you would have asked Annie, what she would look like right now as a junior, I wouldn't say that we wouldn't have thought she would be like this, but I think she is surpassing some expectations, and that's obviously what you want. You want kids that are going to come in, put the work in, and really continue to push themselves and those around them to improve their game. And I think having her on the floor, people trust that she's going to get the digs that she's supposed to, extend out and get a few more. I think it allows other people to play very comfortable in the back row as well, and it sets that standard for our defensive portion of our game, so everybody really buys in. Defense has always been a big part of us, but having somebody to really anchor that defense is huge.
And the Coyotes have reached the halfway point of the Summer League schedule with a 6-2 Summer League mark, and in 3rd place in the conference, 12-8 overall. Week to week, the second time through the rotation starts this week. South Dakota State comes to the Sanford Coyote Sports Center on Friday. Oral Roberts comes in on Sunday. What will the focus be this week as we begin the second half of the Summer League schedule?
Well, the second half of the schedule is always interesting because, the first half people are really learning about teams. It's the first time they're playing them, obviously, for the year. So learning tendencies and figuring out, how they're going to defend them, how they're going to try to score points against us. So the second time around, some of the things that worked the first time may not be as easily scored upon, or defensively it might be a little bit harder to play defense against certain players because they learn how we defended them and we're going to have to make changes along the way. So it's kind of fun for us as coaches to look back at those matches and see what did work, what didn't work, and kind of try to play around to make us the best team on that night. But so much of it is then I think sometimes just being the tougher team, the team that's willing to outlast the other and get through some tough times. So I think it'll be a fun time, but at the same time, at this point in time, being 6-2, there's 2 teams right now that are undefeated. They do play on Tuesday, so at some point in time, somebody's going to have a loss here. But really, our first expectation for ourselves to win the conference or the regular season conference is kind of out of our hands right now. We need some luck. We need some other teams to lose. And really for us, one of our biggest focuses is really focusing on what we can control. And what we can control is our match on Friday. We can control our match on Sunday. So we're going to continue to push ourselves to get better day by day, to become the best team that we can be by the end of the year, hopefully knock some people off that are above us and continue to take care of business with people that we are ahead of right now. And, in the end, you could find yourself in a really good situation. But at this point, there's really no time, there's no reason to look at that as a whole, as a team. Really, we're focusing on ourselves and preparing for our next opponent, which is South Dakota State.
And Friday's match with South Dakota State is a red-out match and is also part of the Showdown Series, which is currently tied at 1. How big is the Showdown Series? I mean, I know it's as a whole it's big, but how do you talk about it through your with the volleyball program team?
Yes and no. I think it's a great thing to be doing with South Dakota State, but at the same time, we don't prepare for them any differently than what we do anybody else. So, we continue to take it one match at a time. We continue to look at it as being the best team that we can be right now. It's today, which is recovering in a lot of ways. Tomorrow at practice, and then come Friday, we're the best team that we can be on Friday, and that we are preparing for South Dakota State the way that we would with everybody else. So I wouldn't say we put more emphasis into it, but we also don't put any less emphasis into it, and it's something that we want to win regardless. So the Showdown is kind of a icing on the cake in a lot of ways, but we're going to continue to compete at a high level because that's what we want to do on a daily basis. And
Sunday's match with Oral Roberts it's part of Alumni Weekend. A lot of former volleyball players from USD will be on hand at the match on Sunday and will be honored during the match. Just talk a little bit lastly about their impact and obviously the amount of volume of alumni coming back.
Yeah, it's always great to see our alumni. Obviously for myself, I've been here, this is my 10th season, so there are quite a few alumni that come back that I did have the opportunity and privilege to coach. So it's always nice to see them, catch back up with them, learn what's going on in their lives, let them see, kind of where the program has gotten to, because they are a huge part of where we are now. And on the flip side, we have people coming back that I never did actually have the opportunity to coach. So being able to form some more relationships with them, and I think really for them to see, let's compare, what were the programs like then? What is it like now? You were still a part of that, even though I wasn't a part of your coaching, group. So it's a lot of fun to see the people from the past and really, I think, loop them into the present right now. And we want them to feel like they're a big part of our program, even though they're not here on a daily basis, because really without them, we wouldn't be where we are now. So excited to see them, excited to honor them on Sunday, and we'll actually spend some time with them on Saturday night as well, which will be nice to catch up.
And Friday's match inside the San Rafael Memorial Center with South Dakota State starts at 7 p.m. And Sunday's match, Oral Roberts, these are 2 of the last 4 home matches of the season coming up this weekend, starts at 2 p.m.